Do you feel like you work hard? You try your best, and yet the money never seems to last, as if your home had an invisible leak, and your mind stays tired, worried, never fully at peace. Today, I'm going to show you one specific place in your home where 3 bay leaves become a sign of protection and openness for 2026. And this matters. No one needs to know. It's at the entrance, but not just anywhere. Most people miss one simple detail, and without realizing it, reinforce the feeling of being stuck. And before anyone says, "Oh, that's superstition," no. This is symbol plus repetition. When your brain sees a signal in the right place every single day, it changes how you decide, how you organize, how you react, and that changes what you attract and what you allow. In just a few minutes, you'll understand the exact place, why there are 3, and the correct position, the detail almost no one gets right. And if this video showed up for you today, on a day when you're feeling more sensitive, more concerned, maybe it's a sign that you're ready to take back control of your home and your life. Do one thing with me, only if it feels right. Write in the comments, "In 2026, I close the leaks and open new paths." And subscribe, because this channel is for women like you. Simple steps, clear language, no promises of miracles, but real direction. Now let me give you the first bit of clarity, because I don't like keeping you stuck in empty mystery. When I say this place, I'm talking about the entrance of your home. Your front door is the transition point between what comes from the outside and what stays inside with you. It's where people enter, messages arrive, demands show up, news comes in, opportunities appear, and also that heavy feeling you sometimes can't even explain. But pay attention, because here's the mistake many people make. They place the leaves anywhere and think that's enough. It's not. The value of this gesture isn't in having bay leaves around the house. The value is in choosing a point that works as a marker, a daily reminder of boundaries, protection, and direction. So I'm going to be very specific, because you deserve that. It's the main door, the one you actually use. It doesn't have to be the prettiest or the biggest. It's the door where life comes in and goes out. But there's still one detail that changes everything, and I'll show it to you in a moment. Because there is a right way to position these 3 leaves, so this doesn't turn into just decoration or another thing you tried. I want you to do this the right way, with steadiness and with peace. And before I show you the exact spot and the position, listen to me with care. This is not a promise of miracles. It doesn't replace work. It doesn't replace decisions. It's a symbolic gesture that helps reorganize your mind, your heart, and your environment. When you mark a boundary at the entrance, you're saying, "From here inward, I choose more calm, more clarity, and more protection." If this kind of guidance feels supportive to you, subscribe now. Yes, this channel is new, but the intention here is to build a community of women who want to care for their homes and their lives with more ease and purpose. When you subscribe, you're not just following a channel, like you're saying about "I'm taking my place back." Now let's go to the exact spot, and the detail almost no one does correctly. Before I show you where the leaves go and how to position them, I need to explain something very simply, because this only works when it makes sense inside. In life, there are places we pass through every day without really noticing. The front door is one of them. It's a threshold. The line between the outside world, with its rush, pressure, comparison, and noise, and your inner world, where you try to breathe, take care of everything, and stay standing. That's why the entrance has such strong symbolic power. Not because there's magic hidden in the door itself, but because it's the place where every day you decide what you let in and what you no longer allow to stay. If you've ever gone through phases where peace felt like it was slipping through your fingers, you know exactly what I mean. Sometimes we don't need more effort. We need direction. A clear signal that says, "From here on, I protect myself. I organize my life. I respect myself." That's why I believe in simple practices done with intention. They don't replace your work. They don't make money fall from the sky. But they do something powerful. They remind you day after day of the path you chose, of the path you've chosen. And when you change what you repeat, you change what you sustain. And when you change what you sustain, you change what you attract and what you allow. There's a detail here that many people ignore. Your home doesn't respond only to what you want. It responds to what you maintain, to what you let pile up, to what you tolerate, to what you keep putting off. So today we're going to do this in a respectful way. A small gesture, but a meaningful one, that combines protection, clarity, and openness. And I'll guide you step by step. No complication. In a moment, I'll show you the exact spot on the door and the right way to place the 3 leaves. But before that, there's a first step that, if you skip it, you lose half the symbolic effect. And that first step is this: prepare the entrance to close the leaks. If you do just one thing before placing the leaves, do this: prepare your entrance. Because in real life, the entrance is like the first message your home gives you. And when that message feels confusing, heavy, or neglected, you feel it inside, even if you don't consciously notice. I know life is exhausting. I know many times you have to handle everything: bills, family, problems, responsibilities, and still try to smile. So I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for one thing only: clarity. Small adjustments that give you back a sense of control. Let's do this in 3 simple steps. First, look at what's broken or damaged near the entrance. It could be a loose doorknob, a torn rug, a bag that's falling apart, a decoration that fell and got pushed aside, old shoes left there, just in case. I'm not talking about luxury. I'm talking about message. A broken object is like your home saying every day, "Here, I accept what isn't working." And you don't have to accept that. Second, remove the excess that turned into storage. Bags, papers, boxes, things you tell yourself, "I'll deal with this later." Do you know why this matters? Because clutter at the entrance becomes an invisible weight. Every time you pass through, your body registers something is pending. And that increases anxiety, irritation, and that constant feeling of being behind. Your entrance should not demand from you. Your entrance should receive you. Third, clear the path. No complicated ritual. Just the basics done well. Sweep, dust, align what stays. And while you do it, ask yourself silently, what do I no longer want to bring inside? It could be worry, conflict, fear, guilt, a sense of failure. You choose, because the moment you choose, you've already started to change. And let me say something important to you with respect. Many women don't lack strength. They lack rest. And a home, when it's in order at the right point, offers rest. This isn't decoration. It's emotional care. If you live with other people and they don't help, that's okay. Don't create conflict over this right now. Do it your way, in your time. Sometimes when one person shifts the energy of a home, the rest begins to follow without even realizing it. Now imagine this: you come home, open the door, and feel a small, real sense of relief, as if your body said, "Here, I can breathe." That's the feeling we're building. And when the entrance is ready, clean, lighter, less burdened, then the gesture with the 3 leaves makes sense. Because then it's not just placing leaves, it's marking a decision. From here inward, I choose protection, clarity, and openness for 2026. Now that your entrance is prepared, I'm going to show you the exact spot where the leaves go, and why this spot changes everything. Now yes, with the entrance ready, here's where the 3 leaves belong. On the main door of your home on the inside, and at the top on the upper door frame, like a subtle marker just above you as you enter. This place matters for a simple reason. It's the first place you cross when the outside world tries to come in full force. And I know you've probably heard many ideas out there, but notice how this makes sense. The door is the place of decision. You decide whether to open or not. You decide what comes in. You decide what goes out. So when you mark the door with intention, you're telling yourself, I have boundaries, I have direction, I have choice. But I need to ask you one thing. Don't place the leaves carelessly. Don't just toss them up there. Don't hide them in a corner you'll never remember. This gesture isn't meant to become new clutter. It's meant to become a signal. Here's a rule that makes everything easier. The spot should be discreet, but it must be real to you. It doesn't need to be visible to guests. It doesn't need to draw attention, but you need to know it's there, because when you know, you remember. And when you remember, you sustain a decision. Now you might be thinking, okay, but how do I attach them? The simplest, cleanest way possible. A small piece of tape, a discreet adhesive, a very light holder. What matters is that it stays secure and doesn't turn into something dangling or annoying. This should bring you peace. If you rent your place, if you live in a small apartment, if you can't change anything permanently, you adapt. You don't need to drill holes. You don't need to damage anything. A discreet, reversible adjustment is enough. Because this isn't about the wood of the door. It's about what the door represents. Now pay close attention, because what comes next is the detail almost everyone gets wrong: the position of the leaves. This is what separates those who do this as a conscious symbol from those who just copy it and later say, "It didn't work." But before I tell you the correct position, I want you to understand why there are three. Because when you understand the meaning, you do this with more confidence. And the people who benefit most from this are exactly those who've been through hard seasons and want to feel safe at home again. So remember this: 3 leaves are not exaggeration. They're not random. 3 is the number of balance: body, mind, and heart. Past, present, and future. Protect, organize, and open. It's like placing 3 pillars at the entrance to support a new phase of life. And in a moment, I'll show you how each leaf represents an intention and how that connects directly to your life in 2026. Now let me explain why 3 leaves matter. And I want you to hear this as advice that can change how you look at your own life. 3 leaves represent 3 intentions that, together, create a sense of stability. Because there's no point in seeking prosperity if your home feels like a battlefield. There's no point in seeking protection if your mind is constantly exhausted and confused. And there's no point in having clarity if you don't allow yourself to receive new opportunities. So I like to divide it this way, in a very human way. The first leaf is the leaf of protection. Protection is not fear. Protection is boundaries. It's deciding to stop allowing every energy, every person, every heavy conversation to enter your home and destabilize you. It's realizing, I don't have to carry everything. The second leaf is the leaf of openness. Openness to paths, to solutions, to opportunities you may not even see because worry has taken over. When we're tense, we only see danger. When we calm down, we start to see options. And the third leaf is the leaf of clarity. Because clarity is what separates those who receive and lose from those who receive and organize. Clarity helps you say yes to what builds and no to what drains. Clarity changes how you speak, how you decide, how you act. And notice how this connects to 2026. Many people enter a new year carrying the weight of the previous one. They change the calendar, but not their posture. And life feels like a repeat. What we're doing here is marking simply, from here inward I choose protection. I choose openness, I choose clarity. This isn't childish, this is direction. Now, here's the detail that changes everything, because it's not enough to place 3 leaves and walk away. There is a correct position, a simple orientation that turns this into a coherent symbol. Most people place them randomly, and then don't understand why the house still feels heavy, the heart feels tight, and life feels stuck. So now I'm going to teach you the position of the leaves in the easiest way possible. Pay full attention here, because this is where most people miss it. The 3 leaves should be placed at the top of the door frame, on the inside of the house. They should be aligned side by side, with a small space between them. Not a big gap, just enough so they're not pressed together. Why? Because each intention needs its own space: protection, openness, and clarity. When everything is crammed together, the message becomes confusing. When you align them calmly, the message becomes firm. Now here's the detail almost no one respects. Each leaf has a base and a tip, and the direction matters. Place the leaves straight, like small arrows pointing downward into your home. It's like saying, what is good comes down, enters, and stays. What is heavy does not cross. It's a simple symbol, but a very powerful one. And here's why this works in real life. Every time you cross that door, even if you don't consciously look up, your brain registers that a boundary exists there. And boundaries are something many women lose over the years from taking care of everyone else. Boundaries are not hardness. Boundaries are protection. Now imagine this scene. You leave to handle things, you come back tired, maybe with your head full, and you enter. This gesture exists to remind you. Inside this space, I stop fighting life. Inside, I breathe. I reorganize. I regain my direction. And if you live with other people, even better. Because when a home has a symbolic point of protection, the atmosphere changes little by little. Not because everyone becomes perfect, but because the environment starts asking for more respect. And if no one else respects it, you do. You start with yourself. Now at this point, I want to ask you something that helps many people turn this practice into something alive. If you know a woman who carries the weight of the home, who feels anxious, who worries about money and peace, send this video to her. Sometimes, what a person needs isn't a long speech. It's a simple gesture that brings hope back. Sometimes a person doesn't need long advice. They need a simple gesture that brings hope back. And now that you know where to place the leaves and how to position them, what's left is what completes everything. The short words. Not as magic, but as a decision you speak out loud. This is where many people feel a shiver, because this is where you stop asking and start choosing. Now comes the shortest part, and at the same time one of the strongest. The words. I'm going to ask you to do this calmly, without rushing and without embarrassment. This isn't about sounding beautiful. It's about being real. When you place the first leaf, say a simple sentence in your own way but with firmness. Something like, may this home be protected. May there be boundaries, respect, and peace here. On the second leaf, say, may paths open in 2026. May what is necessary never be missing. May solutions, opportunities, and relief arrive. And on the third leaf, say, may I have clarity. May I choose what builds. May I refuse what drains me. Do you notice this isn't about asking for a miracle? It's about taking a stance. Because when you speak out loud, you're not speaking into the air. You're speaking to yourself. Your body believes what you repeat. Your mind follows what you confirm. And little by little, your home starts to reflect your change. And now, just as I promised at the beginning, I want a simple pact with you. No pressure. If it feels right to you, write this exact sentence in the comments. In 2026, I close the leaks and open paths. You don't need to explain your whole life. That one sentence is enough. Because when you write it, you confirm it. When you confirm it, you strengthen it. And when you strengthen it, you stop living in survival mode and begin living in building mode. And if you're already subscribed here, thank you for being with me. If you're not yet subscribed, subscribe now. This channel was created to walk with you through simple steps, without complication, without fear, without excess, so you can care for your home and your mind with more lightness. From here on, I'm going to answer the most common questions and show you how to adapt this practice to any reality. A small apartment, a rented place, a difficult family, a busy routine, because this needs to fit into real life. Now let's address the questions that come up the most, because I know your life isn't perfect, and I don't want you to feel this is only for people with ideal homes, extra time, and full support. It's not. First, I only have dried bay leaves. Is that okay? Yes, in fact, most people use dried leaves. What matters is that they're whole, clean, and treated with respect. You don't need to search for anything special. You don't need to complicate this. Second, what if I live in a small apartment? That works too. Your apartment door is your entrance. A home isn't measured by size, it's measured by meaning. And sometimes in smaller spaces, this kind of gesture has an even stronger impact, because every detail is felt more deeply. Third, I rent. I can't damage anything. That's fine. You adapt. You don't need to drill holes. You don't need to glue anything permanent. You can attach the leaves in a discreet, reversible way. Again, this isn't about the material, it's about the symbol. And a symbol has to fit your reality. Fourth, my family will laugh at me or no one supports me. I understand, and I want to tell you something gently. You don't need everyone's approval to start caring for your peace. Don't argue. Don't try to convince anyone. Do it quietly. Do it for yourself. When you change the atmosphere of a home, often others stop fighting as much without even knowing why. And if they don't change, you still create a point of strength inside yourself. Fifth, can I place it on another door? Ideally, it's the main door when the point of transition with the outside world. But if you have another entrance, a door you use more often, choose the one that represents where life actually happens. The rule is simple. The door you cross when you go out into the world and when you come back to protect yourself. Now, one important thing almost no one talks about. The leaves are not meant to stay there forever. Not because they lose power, but because your life moves in cycles. And when you renew the gesture, you remember that you also need renewal. So if you can, every 3 months, replace them. No drama. It's a gesture of gratitude and renewal. You remove them with respect, thank the cycle, and place new ones. This reminds you, I'm not stuck. I'm moving forward. And let me give you a very practical bridge. If you do all of this, but the entrance remains full of heaviness, complaints, confusion, and constant arguments, the symbol becomes just decoration. Because what truly rules a home is what is repeated. What truly runs a home is what gets repeated. So, little by little, try to care not only for the space, but also for what you say and what you allow. You don't need to become a perfect person, but you can choose something simple. Reduce complaining inside your home. Replace a harsh sentence with a firm one. Replace "this won't work" with "let's see the next step." And that brings me to the most beautiful part, because I've seen women do this and begin to notice small but real changes. More calm when coming home, fewer arguments over small things, more clarity to deal with pending issues, and even opportunities showing up when the mind stops being on constant alert. Now I want to tell you a short story, true in a human sense, so you can understand how this touches the life of someone who is tired but still has faith. I met a woman, I'll call her Helen, who was exactly at that point many women reach and almost never say out loud. She was tired of being strong. She worked, took care of the house, took care of family, and behind her smile there was a constant worry about money. It wasn't just the monthly bills. It was that feeling of, if anything goes wrong, I don't know how I'll handle it. And when that feeling stays in your chest for too long, something changes inside. You start speaking more sharply, sleeping worse, getting irritated over small things, feeling like life is stuck. One day she told me, "I don't want to be rich, I just want to breathe. I just want to feel peace when I close the door." And that's profound. She wasn't asking for luxury, she was asking for relief. She heard about this gesture with the 3 bay leaves, and at first thought it was silly. But at the same time, something inside her wanted to try, not because she believed in miracles, but because she needed a sign of a fresh start, a sign that she still had a choice. So she did the basics. Nothing perfect, nothing elaborate, but she did it with honesty. She organized the entrance, removed things that had been sitting there for months, cleaned the door frame, took a breath, and placed the 3 leaves exactly as I taught you. When she finished, she stood there for a few seconds looking at the door and said something simple. "From today on, I stop letting the world come in here and break me." The following week, nothing magical happened. The bills didn't disappear, the past didn't vanish, but something did happen. Something that, for someone who is exhausted, is a quiet miracle. She began to feel steadier. She woke up a little less anxious, started organizing one small thing a day, spoke to herself differently. She stopped saying "I can't" and started saying "what's the next step?" That may sound small, but that's what changes a life. And then, over time, things began to move. She replied to messages she had been avoiding, sent out resumes, asked for help from someone she trusted, resolved an issue she had been postponing for months. And when you create movement, life responds with movement. A few weeks later, she received a call about an opportunity she wasn't even expecting anymore. It wasn't luck from the sky. It was the result of what she changed inside: clarity, action, and courage. And the most important part, she told me the house felt different. That when she walked in, it felt like there was a boundary there, as if her heart remembered. "Here, I protect myself, and that's what I want for you." Not a fairy tale, but a quiet turning point. A small gesture that gives you direction back. Now I'm going to recap everything with you, clearly and briefly, so you can apply it today without doubt. And then I'll give you a simple 7-day routine so this doesn't fade tomorrow. Let's recap, step by step, very simply. First, prepare the entrance. Remove what's broken, what's been sitting there unused, what turned into storage. This is not about deep cleaning. It's about removing weight from the path. Because a heavy entrance creates a heavy mind. Then take 3 bay leaves, they can be dried. What matters is that they're whole and clean. Place them on your main door, on the inside, at the top of the door frame, in a discreet spot that you know is there. Here's the detail. Align the 3 leaves side by side with a small space between them. Place them straight like small arrows pointing downward, as a symbol that what's good enters, settles and stays, and what's heavy does not cross. Then say the short words sincerely: protection, opening, clarity, no performance, just truth. Now here's what I want to give you next, a 7-day routine. Because the biggest mistake people make is doing something once and then forgetting about it. The power of this gesture is that it becomes a reminder. Day 1, prepare the entrance and place the leaves. Day 2, when you come home, pause for 2 seconds and breathe. That's it. Day 3. Replace a draining sentence with a supportive one. Instead of, "This won't work," say, "What's the next step?" Day 4. Remove 5 small items from the entrance. Day 5. Quietly say thank you for 3 simple things: shelter, food, protection. Day 6. Choose one boundary, something you will no longer tolerate inside your home. Day 7. Repeat the short words and reinforce the decision: protection, openness, and clarity. If you do this honestly, you'll notice something changing little by little. It's not your life turning into a movie. It's you becoming steadier. And when you become steadier, you start seeing opportunities that used to pass right by unnoticed. Now I want to ask you something small. Go back to the comments and tell me, what was your biggest leak? Was it clutter at the entrance? Mental exhaustion? Lack of boundaries? Or worry about money? Just one word. That helps other women recognize themselves too. Now I want to close this with you and leave one last message, because there is a next step that almost no one looks at, and it changes everything. Here's my final message, simple and very honest. If this video reached you today, I won't call it magic, but I do believe this. Sometimes we find a message at the exact moment because the heart is already asking for change. And you made it here because deep down, you want to feel peace inside your own home again. So do this gently, without fanaticism, without fear, without exaggeration. Do it like someone who brings order with love. Because when you take care of your home, you're taking care of yourself. And that changes everything. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. This channel is new, and your presence here helps build a strong, respectful, practical community for women who want protection, clarity, and open paths one step at a time. And tell me in the comments briefly, in 2026 I close the leaks and open new paths. In the next video, I'll show you 3 things in the home that quietly drain peace and prosperity, and how to fix them in just a few minutes. May you have protection, may you have clarity, and may 2026 find you steadier than you ever imagined.